Good evening. This is the Conservation Board meeting for the town of Penfield at 7 p.m. here on July 7th. And I'm going to pull up our agenda here, but maybe Doug, can you just put that on our screen for us?
Nice agenda.
Okay, fantastic. So we've called ourselves to order. Do we have any? I'd like to, well, go ahead and pull up the minutes from the last meeting. I have a couple of comments and going to make a suggestion that we postpone the approval of these minutes, and I'd like to discuss why. Okay. So if we look at the way the minutes are presented here, they're missing the actual reports. And I think we had this discussion once before, but I would like to continue the practice that we used to have of including the actual reports in the minutes. And one other comment, if you could put that back to full screen on the minutes. Okay. Let's take a look at the 1394 and 1440 Jackson Road. Sorry, I lost my space bar. Yeah, Paul asked for clarification on where the project is located, and I asked if the town engineer is okay with the sewer design. Those are true statements, but there was a response to each of those questions, and I think that needs to be included in the minutes. So if you would take another stab at these between now and our next meeting, I would appreciate it, and we'll delay the approval of the minutes until our next meeting.
And wasn't there something on our report that you advised, somebody advised we shouldn't say we liked the cul-de-sac, that there was something about, or there was something about that we recommend they go forward, and whether we had read it to say we have no objections. I don't know if that needed to be there.
And can I be heard?
Yes.
Okay, good. You know, back to Jim's point, I get the points. Like where I asked for the clarification, I wanted to specifically see it on the map, just so that I could eyeball it. I don't think that, for me, it's not necessarily it's not worthy of being even in the minutes.
Okay, I can.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah. I could take another.
I sort of say the same thing. It's kind of our little I mean, we'll have like a 15-minute discussion about something, and we're not recording everything verbatim.
I mean, I can appreciate trying to capture everything that's stated, but okay, I get where Jim's going.
Yep, I can. I'll redo the minutes. I'll get those out to you guys in the next week or so. And if you guys are happy with them, we can reapprove them in August.
Sure.
Yeah, or I mean, maybe it's something like after discussion of project location and sewer design, you know, or it's discussion about that ensued or something like that. So it doesn't have to be, here's the question, here's the answer.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, basically, I do have the same reservations about the Jackson Road report.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that myself, Jim.
Yeah, you know, for example, Pat asked Doug who would be maintaining the pond facilities. I mean, I think it's the responses to those questions that are more important than the questions themselves.
Okay. Yes, I'll modify the minutes.
And that's the type of question that does belong there with the response.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So I'll redo the minutes and get them to you guys here in the next week or so, if that's okay.
I think you took us a little too seriously, or literally, as far as reducing the minutes.
No worries. I'll get them modified and I'll get them back to you guys here shortly.
But certainly, to Jim's point, for the record, we would attach the actual report so people could look at those.
Yep. I'll get those attached to them as well, and I'll keep it as a PDF, and I can I'll get that out to you guys.
That's cool. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Jim is muted, so can't hear him.
I say I appreciate that. Sorry, I slipped off my my space bar again.
No worries.
I'm sorry if I'm getting pretty old, but Daniel, I'm not sure we've met.
He's been at a couple of our meetings.
I must have missed things.
Just
How long
doing
have you been with us now?
Yeah, he wasn't with us last month, but he was there the month before. Wasn't he going out
that
on
was
a,
good.
he went out on a project with somebody, didn't he?
Yes.
Yes, it's the project we'll be reviewing the report of tonight.
Gotcha. Nice to meet you.
So yeah, you're getting old, Paul. Wait a minute, you didn't give us our warning about what we should and shouldn't say in the meetings.
The same rules generally apply. It's just a general reminder that the meeting is being recorded. We are currently being broadcast live, at least through Facebook and Roku. I don't know if we're on PCTV or if we're on Penfield Community Television right now. I know there is another meeting going on at 7 o'clock. So I do not know who is live on television right now, if it's us or the school board. With that, Jim, are you ready to move on to the next item? Jim, you're still muted.
Jim, you're muted. Can we do a chat?
I
Okay,
shouldn't
there we
have been
go.
muted, but I unmuted myself for real. I
Just stay unmuted.
Got tired of fooling with a space bar here. So, do we have any communications that we should be looking at?
We've received no communications and no mail at this time.
And we don't have any public comments at this time to deal with?
We did not receive any public comments or have not received any public comments at the last meeting.
So I noticed you have the board review of Panorama Park Lot 3 ahead of our draft report on Empire Boulevard. Is that because we have, do we have the engineers representing the Panorama Park with us?
We do not. No, that was just, it was just ordering. If you'd like to do the report first, we can do the report first.
Yeah, I think that makes sense as long as we aren't keeping some engineers waiting to make their case. Why don't we do the draft report on Empire Boulevard first?
Okay. So I have it pulled up here just for reference for everyone. The proposed project is down here on Empire Boulevard. It's 1211 Empire Boulevard. We've seen it, the board has seen it previously, going as far back as 2008. in various forms. In this iteration, they are proposing apartments on 1211 Empire Boulevard. 1185 will largely be donated to the county to expand Lucian Moore Park, as you can see from our GIS map. There's already trails that have sort of been made on that property, so they would just formalize it and donate a large portion of it to the county. Pull up the site plan. You can go over the report. Oh, might be able to. All right, if somebody'd like to present the report or explain the report to the board, the rest of the board.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, myself, Bert, and Daniel visited the site. As it says, the original, this is a much better plan for everybody involved. Really just a lot of brush and small trees. None of us had any issues or concerns. The only concern is just to make sure that they keep the silt fences up, but I still think they're too far away from the water, the wetland E-pod, that it's not going to affect it now. The original proposal would have, or at least put it in danger. The plan showed that they were going to be, even though they're not really taking anything significant out, they're going to be following the town tree policy, which they offered to do, it looks like, willingly. There is already a water main there, town water main, and a fire hydrant. The steep slopes won't be impacted with this plan. We really have no issues with it.
It's like, finally.
Yeah. Did you want to add anything, Bert?
No, Doug would. One thing, would you make your comment for the benefit of the rest of the team off the or the rest of the board off the plot plan and stuff about the stormwater management? Because again, Jeff and Daniel would not have heard that, but with what the town or the town boards, because I was trying to look at that as you were looking through these.
Yeah, so as they currently have it proposed, we have been in discussions with them regarding how they're going to subdivide the property. At this time, the pond is off-site. It is, I believe, on 1211 Empire, or 1185 Empire Boulevard. Or actually, I stand corrected. I believe it's across.
It's across the road from the
crossover tract from the development next to. So it'll be over, sort of right here on a portion of property owned by the proposed applicant, who owns 1185, 1211, as well as 41 Woodhaven.
So is that a problem?
Well, no. Well, so the question that I've got, Doug, because we didn't pick that up on the drawings, but so I know in relationship to that metal building, and maybe we can go back to that one in the board. But before you do, so that's probably quite a bit of distance because that's stormwater on the what you're showing right now. The graphic you're showing right now is that wetland, kind of the area with the little hash marks in it. That's wetland, right?
It's not officially delineated wetland. That is
okay. just kind of.
This is an OpenStreetMap space layer. OpenStreetMaps is.
But that is a wetland out there.
It may.
There is a recognized in this area here, isn't it?
So the map is sort of showing the edge of the blue line is the edge of the wetland boundary, or the I believe wetland boundary. They may or they should have done a wetland delineation, but I believe where they're proposing the pond is outside of that area.
Yeah.
So they're
outside of that area.
They're just off it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So let's see, 100-foot adjacent area. So the dashed line at the edge of the pond is the 100-foot sort of. The DEC has sort of a 100-foot buffer area.
Yeah. Yeah.
To the delineated wetland, and that is what this hash line is. So the wetland delineation is this hyphenated line down here.
Just scroll down a little bit, Doug. Yeah, a little bit more. No, I'm great. Scroll up. Scroll up. Yeah. Because what I want the rest of the team, so for the board, if you see that up in the right-hand corner, you see that square with the metal building. Just for everybody's reference, the development is literally, and there's a street running across the top of this at this point. The development, for everybody's benefit, is just across the street from this. So, yeah, we did not pick up in the original. Don't know why, but the original, yeah. So the pond is to show them where the.
So the building will be sort of right in here with the parking coming sort of this way, because the parking at this point is also proposed to be slightly off their current property. We have discussed with them what their subdivision plan would be if they were going to re-subdivide that into a single lot, or if they were going to leave it as multiple lots, how they have it shown. I don't believe we've heard a response from them on that yet. They may be waiting until they go before the town board for that.
Yeah. I guess in my opinion, for the fundamental merits of the project, and with what you're just showing us around this detail, I think our conclusions still are the same in Jeff's, our original report. This matter of how they subdivide, to me, that's the politics of governance for you guys, that all has to be done in a way that makes it legal. But the fundamental, and Jeff, unless you or Daniel disagree, to me, the fundamental precepts of the project that we saw, that this should not be much of an issue from our perspective, still hold with Jeff's report, even with this additional information you've provided.
Yeah, I agree. I'm good.
It's pretty straightforward. I think we were all, Jeff and I especially, having seen it numerous times before, we're all pretty much in agreement that it's the best he's come with forward yet. So very unobtrusive.
They're not trying to build something on the side of a hill.
No. We have been in discussions with them. We have not. I don't.
Sorry, I don't understand.
We have not heard back from them with regards to what their plan is for 41 Woodhaven. At this point, they're not developing it. We don't know if they have plans to do that in the future. It is not part of this application. At this time, they have not. I don't believe they've written this off as being developed. We'll see what they say.
Where is Woodhaven again?
Woodhaven is up here at the top of the road, at the top of the hill.
Okay, I see it now. That's right.
This property has a Woodhaven address. It was previously owned by a resident on Woodhaven. So it is. This large lot here is 41 Woodhaven.
Oh.
But it is owned by the same owners of 1211, which is the property proposed to be developed, and 1185, the property that is proposed to be donated. So we haven't quite figured out the ownership of the pond. That is one of the comments back that we have. We've been in discussions with them in regards is what is the ultimate goal with that pond? Will it be subdivided in? Will it remain under the same owner? The town will have easements over it. at minimum an inspection easement and a property maintenance agreement that will require the upkeep of the pond and the stormwater structures leading to and from it. We do that regardless of where the pond would be. It would be under a property maintenance agreement under an inspection easement to the town.
Did you put the written report up again a minute? I think there was something that I was detecting that I thought there should be a word added or something. Okay, just need to get above concerns, comments, and recommendations. There's a few extra periods in that last, after the immediate area of the project.
Yep.
Oh, here on the second to last bullet under concerns, comments, with this plan, there will be no chance of disturbance. I think there should be a to the federal wetlands EPOD.
Okay.
And I don't know, this one I'm unsure of. On the last one, there will be no obstruction of the view.
Mm-hmm. Or of the views.
Oh, it's okay too. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I can make those couple of changes if Jeff, Bert, and Dan, you guys are okay with it.
Sorry, I'm just such a little grammar nut.
That's fine. No problem.
Okay. I'll make those changes in the report.
Any other comments from the board?
I have a question. The development over on the Daniele property, the state's making a left turn lane in the road. Now, how is that going to affect this place?
That's actually a really good question, and I will show. So they are proposing, as part of this project as well, is they will be doing. I thought I sent this out. I might not have. It's hard to see. Might be easier to see on the cover page. As part of this development, they will be restriping Empire Boulevard to create a left turn pocket onto Wilbur Tract Road. So
You take your life in your hands going up and down that hill these days.
Where are they getting the extra space from?
I believe there's already width in the pavement when they widened and redid Empire Boulevard last year.
Because I know it's 4 lanes there.
Yeah.
Oh, that middle strip. Okay.
So they're essentially going to extend this middle strip a little bit and create a pocketed left up here onto Wilbur Tract, and there'll be a hashed area past it. I believe they're probably utilizing some amount of the shoulder width, but I believe there's already space for that. I think they were accounting for that. The DOT was accounting for that when they did their realignment and restriping.
That's good.
There's no way of okay, I'm thinking coming out of that. As far as it is out of that, is a left-hand turn up the hill really feasible? Crossing 2 lanes, and working your way into speeding up the hill.
People are doing it already.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you said, there's
the
60 homes, 60 units, so that many more.
Yeah, the plans are before the DOT for their approval as well. Their approval is required as part of this because of the boulevard improvements that they're proposing. They have to be approved by the state DOT. Yeah, it looks like they're utilizing a portion of the existing gutters or the shoulders for that. Yeah, Empire Boulevard's not the best. As long as they work with the DOT and get DOT approval and the approval of the engineering department, I think they have adequate sight distances in that. Unfortunately, they'll never be signalized. We don't believe there will ever be signalized.
No.
Signal lights on Empire Boulevard through this stretch. But I believe they have adequate for turning in. They'll have adequate spacing for turning in. They will have adequate striping on Wilbur Track Road for turning out.
I have a question for Daniel. How did you like your first, was that your first walkabout on a project?
It was, yes.
And I know that was, well, for me, it was always figuring out spaces and things like that. I don't know, how'd you like it?
It was all right, yeah.
Next.
Keep us moving, Paul.
All right. So the next is BME and Rich Lefroy have come in for what they're calling Panorama Park Building B. Excuse me. It is up here at the top of the hill. They are proposing to modify sort of the lot layout they already had to make this lot a little larger. They're going to move the cul-de-sac down, but they are coming in for Building B, as they're calling it, which is proposed to be a 30,000 square foot office building.
Which one have they already built?
So they have two buildings going in right now. Back on the cover sheet here. So lot 1 was the first building, or building A, which is the first one they came in for. It'll be directly adjacent to this one.
Oh, this is right here?
And then lot 2 was Simutech. Building A is from my understanding, I believe Building A is owned by Lefroy and will be leased out. Building B will be the same way. I believe lot 2, Simutech, was sold to Simutech. So those are the two buildings that are going up now, Simutech and Building A. Building B will be at the top of the hill adjacent to Building A.
Oh, when you drive by that, Building A looks like it's at the top of the hill.
It sort of flattens out up in this area.
So this is that place that Jim, isn't that place that you and me and Roseanne went to, and the place is already cleared and might as well be built?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not sure what the point is.
I think Noel and I think Jim and Noel did the last review of this project. or the previous phases of the project.
I don't.
Actually,
I just went
zoom
along
back
the last
out because
time.
I don't think so. I think that Jim and Noel started it.
No.
Noel was going on a trip.
Yeah, I don't remember doing anything particularly up
No.
there. It was generally when they were clearing out when I was involved.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was myself and Jim and Roseanne, and that's when we took the pictures of the trees that were essentially destroyed
Yeah, yeah.
in the clearing, and it was like all the pads were already built. So why go look at something that's already built? Man, the buildings may have already been there. I know they weren't, but the pads were built.
this is the very corner property, however. And Doug, would you put up the grading plan for this lot 3?
It should be on screen there for you guys.
Yeah. So, is this pad built?
I have not been up there recently. They did clear out a large portion of this area already. They hadn't gone all the way out. They cleared, the only area they cleared here is what they were allowed to do under the grade and fill permit they got previous to the subdivision application. Outside of that, they've done grading for Lot A next door, which I think is the one that we went on a site visit with you guys to. I want to say it was Jim. Was it Jim, Paul, and Jim? Were you the two? We went up to the top of the hill here with Mark Valentine, the town engineer. Roseanne.
Yeah, I didn't go on that one. I didn't go with Mark
You didn't join us for
Valentine.
that. You were on one of them, but yeah.
Yeah, I was on one of them.
So this is the very top. So the cul-de-sac doesn't really exist. Where you see the cul-de-sac ending is about here. So when we've been up there, this is sort of where they have the T turnaround.
Yep.
They have cleared a portion of this area. I do not believe they have cleared all of the area they will need for building. I think the original plan with the original clearing grade and fill permit that they got from the town board was to get small pad areas cleared for selling or leasing the lots purposes, just so prospective buyers or tenants had an idea of the area. I believe they'll have to clear out more or grade out more than what they have already graded for this lot.
Here's my overarching concern, and Paul and I are going to want to address the board when we're back to having a live meeting again. But this happens to us all the time. A developer comes in with a plan. They show us all the trees they're going to save. There were some really monumental trees up in this corner, and they promised to save a whole bunch of them. And what we've seen so far is that some of those trees that they promised to save had inadequate protection and have already undoubtedly been damaged. I think I think this does require a revisit by us, and I'd like to suggest that that be done with Mark's help and yours at our earliest convenience when we're able to do this. And
Okay.
I promise I'll wear a mask. And I'd like to suggest that if possible, those of us that have looked at this corner before might be able to join with you. And I'm going to invite Paul and Roseanne and Noel, if he'd like to join us,
Sure enough.
to be with you on that visit. Take another look at this lot 3 and and what they've done since our last visit up there with Lot 1. And
Okay.
I think for the future, the position that we'd like to take is to, when revisions to the plan continue to come down as the site is being laid out with more detail, I'd like to always be able to go back to an overlay of what was promised when the initial application was before us. And you know, I understand that revisions have to be made. I understand that in the early days of application, you may not know exactly where you're going to want to put the building and exactly who the residents of the building are going to be and what their requirements are going to be. But I think we sometimes play a little loose with the promises that have been made with respect to saving trees.
Okay. So I will work to get a setup or a meeting on site with Mark Valentine and the board members so we can rewalk it. As we get new and updated plans, I will continue to forward those onto you guys, and we can bring out the original plans from the grade and fill permit back in, I believe that was the end of 2018, and we can go through those.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. We'll wait to hear from you as to when you and Mark can arrange that visit. If the engineer for the applicant would like to be with us, that would be fine.
Okay. I can reach out to them as well. I'll talk to Mark tomorrow and see if we can get a date set up. At least a preliminary date set up.
Okay, does the board have any other comments?
No.
Okay, I guess we want to take another look at where we are agenda-wise.
Do we want to assign this to any board members for review, or do we want to wait until after the meeting on site? You're muted.
Those members that are going to be at that meeting probably should be the ones continuing the review.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I've discovered my problem here. When I attempt to pull up anything else on my screen, my spacebar doesn't work anymore. So, because I've made another window has taken over my computer. So, all right. So I'm a little smarter now. But once you've arranged for a visit, then I think while we're on site, we can decide who's going to be responsible for our report.
Okay, that makes sense.
Any other comments by the board?
None.
Nope.
That brings us to other business, review of ongoing projects. Do you have some things to review with us, Doug? I know the Daniele project would probably be of interest to all of us. It looks like it's really at a very booming stage right now.
Yep, now that most construction activities have resumed, they have been building that. Unfortunately, I do not have I don't think I have plans I can pull up for it, just because I'm not connected to the town network right now. But that one is, they're continuing to work on that one. So that's moving forward. The other applications we received, we haven't gotten anything substantial in a while. The July planning board hearing was canceled. They're just having a brief work session on Thursday. For August, it's a little hit and miss. We've received 3 applications, 2 we've determined to be incomplete. 85 Sovereign Drive off of Creek Street, an applicant is coming forward. They're looking to do 9,000 square foot warehouse with an 800 square foot office for storage of drywall, metal studs, and insulation. It is a drywalling company that is looking to purchase this lot and develop it. We're working with their engineer to make their application complete for August. If it is, we will hear them in August, I believe the 13th. We received Panorama Park Building B, and the other application we received is the Wesleyan Church on Penfield Wesleyan Church on 5 Mile Line Road is proposing to subdivide the parish residence off from the church building and make them 2 separate lots.
Which part?
The Wesleyan Church building, the property there, the home that is sort of built in the same style as the church, is currently on the same lot as the church. They're looking to subdivide the house off onto its own separate parcel.
Who's in the house?
I don't know if they're using it for parsonage. I can look it up. I don't know why. I'd have to look at the letter of intent to see why they're subdividing it. But they're proposing to subdivide it.
Back to the Daniele property. I just got to ask, is anything happening with that restaurant?
That I'm aware of. I don't believe they've come before the town board for either a change of use or a new operating permit. So I have not heard if anything new is going in there at this time.
Across from the YMCA, that project is really moving fast.
Yep, Penfield Square, the mixed-use assisted and independent living building. They're making progress. I believe they are coming before. They are our work session item for the planning board. They'll be before the planning board at the work session on Thursday for modification of architecture. They're looking to change materials used. But they're moving full steam ahead as well. They continue to do a lot of work over COVID. I believe they were deemed essential since they were working on senior housing.
Any other projects the board would like to review? We don't have any held projects, do we?
We do not. No.
Anything else that anyone on the board would like to discuss?
What's going on at the corner of Creek, our Blossom and Atlantic, Roncroft? The old gas station across from Fast Track.
As far as I know, they have it listed, but we've heard nothing. No one's come forward to us about it yet.
Okay, thanks.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
Second, third.
Vote with your off button.
With no objections, I guess we're going to be adjourned shortly, but I would like to thank you, Doug, for agreeing to give us a little more detail on our last minutes and including the reports with the minutes.
Yep.
Thanks very much, everybody.
No problem. I'll try to get those to you here shortly.
All right.
See you next month.
See you next
Night.
month.
Okay, bye-bye.
See you in
There,
August.
bye-bye.